Welcome to the Gene Locklear Gallery of NBA Art. If you can't get enough of the NBA, then you have come to the right place, folks. It's Inside the NBA. Give us a half hour. We'll give you highlights, insights, and fodder for the water cooler. Ernie Johnson and the jump shooter in the house. Reggie Theus, that's at work at the water cooler. Let's get you started with the Magic. Remember the other night, their home winning streak was in jeopardy till Jersey scored just 9 fourth-quarter points. Shaq didn't play in that game, but they still won. Shaq couldn't go tonight, bad left thigh. Horace Grant couldn't go either. He's on the injured list with a stress fracture of his lower left leg. Would the Bucks be able to snap Orlando's 41-game regular season home streak against the East? There are the guys not playing. Time for Vin Baker to go to work inside there, Rich.
But watch this. John Concac roaming the top of the key where Shaq is. And Vin Baker having his way with Scott down low. If you're going to help out, you got to get there quicker than that, John. Oh, come on.
60-49. Bucks in control of this thing? Not quite. Penny Hardaway, a 30-point night. Look at all those moves. And he gets it off the window. They're up 84-82. They're down when Dennis Scott lights up a three. He had 6 of them on the night, 37 points. They're up 89-88. Still got a chance late. The big dog, Glenn Robinson for 3, and it's off the rim, and it bounces away. And with it go Mike Dunleavy's hopes of snapping that streak. Orlando still very tough at home, 93-88. They win this one. That is 27 straight overall, 42 straight against teams from the East. And, man, they've won 62 of their last 64 on their home floor. The New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics at Fleet Center tonight. Patrick Ewing going to work down low. Baseline jumper, gets it to go. And the car says, we got to stop this guy. Eric Montross, you got to stop this guy. But there's the hop, skip, and the jump in the lane. And 22 points on the night for Patrick. Dana Barros, you know that big streak of 89 straight games with at least 1 3. He's firing them up, but nothing's going down for him. Are Nelly's troops going to stop this streak? More on that in a minute. Check it out. Touchdown pass to John Starks for a couple. The outcome, not in doubt. The mystery is, are the Knicks going to stop the Dana Barros streak? As we see Ewing, go to work. New York's going to win the game. Time running out. Dana Barros, one more chance to knock down a 3 and keep the streak alive. And look at all the blue shirts around him. It won't go. He's 0 for 8 from the night. From 3-point range. He fired up 5 of them in the last minute. The Knicks taking some pride that they could stop the streak. They win it 105-92. That's 13 straight wins over the Celtics, and they send Dana Barros home unhappy. 89 straight games with at least a 3, but now that is over. Back to the Orlando Magic now. And
small things make you happy in this game, huh?
You know, those guys were going after him late in that game, weren't they? They take a little pride. The Orlando Magic, Horace Grant out now with a stress fracture in the lower left leg, and they say that it's a resolving thing, that it's getting better, but still it's a cause for concern for the Orlando Magic.
Well, it's really got to be, because Horace Grant is an intricate part of their team, and if they're going to win on the road, they got to have this guy. I think it's important for them to have all their troops together by the end of All-Star break, because they can't just turn it on at the end of the season and expect to win it all.
But they win it tonight without Horace Grant and without Shaquille O'Neal. Penny Hardaway goes for 30, and they are 10-0 when he goes for at least 30 points in a game. Now, what is going on in New Jersey these days? Guard Chris Childs is suing the team for allegedly persuading him not to sign with the team in Greece and then paying him half of what he could have gotten over there. He wants $300 grand. And there's the legal fight brewing over the name of the arena, Brendan Byrne or Continental Airlines. I tell you, if the legal wrangling continues, just call it the People's Court. The Nets at home tonight with the 6-25 Sixers in town. Wapner's not there, but Grant Hill is, because he's got to play there tomorrow night. This was an ugly New Jersey game. That's a little redundant. Vernon Maxwell, he had 21 on the night. You're not going to see a whole lot of Nets highlights in this thing. Clarence Weatherspoon. Derek Alston, a career-high 23 for Derek. Yeah, Butch Beard can't believe it either. Look at this sequence. Trevor Ruffin, nice board, outlet, Stackhouse alert. Windmill. Yeah, it's going Philly's way. Vernon Maxwell, little salt in the wound here from the parking lot. Knocking down the 3. Do not adjust your sets. First road win against the team from the East for Philadelphia. 107-80 over the New Jersey Nets. Who's going to sue there? It's got to be Butch Beard ought to sue every one of the guys wearing a white uniform tonight. What's up with this team?
I don't know. Only in New Jersey. Only in New Jersey. But I did talk to Chris's agent, Steve Kaufman, today, and he said that they had ample time to try to resolve this. This was filed over a month ago, and they chose to ignore it, but now they're really going to have to deal with it. But Chris, He's been playing well. His career high against New York, 21.
Yeah.
Not bothering him.
And that came because Kevin Edwards was having car trouble and Chris got the start. That's
Only
a fact.
in New Jersey.
Yes, indeed. Time now, folks, for the Isuzu look-ahead. In the next 4 days, we'll bring the first 2 meetings between a couple of legendary Tar Heels, Michael Jordan and his fellow gunner from UNC, Jerry Stackhouse. They will meet tomorrow night in Philly and Tuesday night in Chicago. Craig Sager asked MJ about the upcoming showdowns.
His attitude is great towards the game. He's a very confident person, confident player, and has good fundamentals to his game. So I look forward to the challenge of seeing how he's adapted to the professional game. It's been said, a lot of things has been said from him about either I get favoritism from the fouls or, you know, he can beat me in a one-on-one game or whatever. And I understand that as a challenge or a competitive standpoint, but I don't take it personally by no means. And I look forward to the challenge of facing Jerry. I think I'm pretty sure he has the same respect or the same response to looking forward to playing against me.
He can't beat you one-on-one, can he? No? Okay.
Oh, man, one look says it all. You don't tug on Superman's cape, baby. When Inside the NBA continues, 2 nights ago, they blew a 25-point lead in Boston. We'll check out the Kings trying to bounce back in snowy D.C. Don't move.
You think you know talent when you see it? Well, now you can prove it at Foot Locker. You know the game, and you know the players. Now just cruise by Foot Locker and vote your favorites onto the All-Star team. You know the talent, and you know where to vote. Piece of cake.
We welcome you back to our Atlanta studio on a Friday night for Inside the NBA. Ernie Johnson along with Reggie Theus. The AutoZone news of the day comes from D.C., and it concerns the Bullets' Robert Pack. He is on the injured list after getting hurt in practice on Sunday. He banged knees with assistant coach Derek Smith and suffered nerve damage. With Pack out, the Bullets turn to the brothers Price at the point with the Kings in town. It's the home debut for Mark Price, who debuted with 5 points the other night. George Mirasan, he's just a little bunch of little guys trying to contend with 77, and he gets a couple to go. He had 18 points and 16 boards. Mark Price comes off the bench, feeds Jim McIlvain for a couple. Sacramento had that terrible game the other night when they blew the 25-point lead to Boston, and things continued in a downward spiral for Mitch Richmond, who was 2 out of 11 for only 4 points on the night. Brian Grant tried to keep them in it. They're down 7 at the half, and they get out of the gate 6-0 to start the third period. Again, it's Grant. Then Jimmy Lynam's guys turn up the heat and put them away. Juwan Howard had 29 on the night. And it's the Washington Bullets over the Sacramento Kings, 117 to 88. Let's talk about the point guard situation with the Washington Bullets. And this was going to be something that Jimmy Lynam was going to have to deal with right away. Mark Price back, Robert Pack having a great year, but now Pack's out a little bit. How do you handle this situation if you're Lynam?
Well, first of all, Mark caught a real break with Pack getting hurt. You know, I don't think that he was ever going to be able to play those two guys together. Although with Pack playing the way he was, it was going to be a long time before Price was going to start. The thing that's nice about when Price is on the floor is he's a guy that can take over the entire game for a quarter or two, and he'll spread that defense out because he's got long-range ability.
And the experience he brings to the table.
Oh, he's been to the war. He's been to the war several times, so it's important.
All right, let us move on tonight, and if you're just joining us, then you missed the game tonight on TNT. Charles Barkley still recovering from surgery on his left big toe. The Suns hope he's ready to go against the Magic Wednesday. That may be a long shot, could be next Friday. He sat and watched tonight, as did KJ and Hot Rod, as the Suns hosted the Mavs right here on TNT. And this was a pretty good ball game, folks. Michael Finley, he would have 27 points. Chris Carr followed it right there. Jason Kidd loses the handle. Finley for 2 of his 27, which tied his career high. Coming off the bench for Dick Motta's guys, Tony Dumas. In the first half, 20 points. Shaking, baking, throwing all kind of stuff up there, and it's all going in for him. They're up at the half, 63-57. Late in the game now. Phoenix appears to assume control. Elliott Perry for 2 of his career-high 35. They're up 113-105, but now, late in the game, right off the knee, Popeye can't get it to go. But Jason Kidd battling on the offensive boards. It goes 124 apiece. We're going to overtime. NBA high 7th overtime game for the Mavs, and they would go to 3-4 on the year in the extra session. Tony Dumas, 39 points, a career high as he comes off the bench, and the Mavs light up the board at America West, 140 to 130. The final is the Mavs stop the Phoenix Suns. And when we come back on Inside the NBA, we're going to catch up with the Cavs, high in the Rockies for a date with the Nuggets, and we'll check on the progress of All-Star Tyrone Hill, out since a car accident in early November.
I was going to the shower, and sometimes I couldn't tell if it was hot or cold. That's how bad it was. And I went to the shower and turned the hot water on, and I felt it with my right side, and I knew then, it was back. I wasn't even I wasn't even thinking about it. It just that was a good feeling.
We begin the third quarter of Inside the NBA from our Atlanta studios. Thanks for hanging around, folks. Ernie Johnson and Reggie Theus with you. Quick now, only team in the Western Conference with single-digit losses. Anybody? San Antonio Spurs, 22-9. But to avoid loss number 10 tonight, they'll have to win in a place they don't win very often. In their last 24 regular season trips to Salt Lake City, they're 2-22 against the Jazz. Tonight, Sean Elliott cannot go, got a sprained right foot. Here's how you run the break. Utah, Mailman, Stockton, Hornacek, Benoit. Nothing to this game. San Antonio with the long-range weapon of rifleman Chuck Person. Oh. Nothing but the twine. Vinny Del Negro with a runner. And that'll go. Jerry Sloan saying, let's go, guys. We're tough on our home floor. They are. Look at that feed inside. Stockton to Hornacek. It was 75-67 going to the fourth quarter. Vinny Del Negro, no, but David Robinson right there to follow it. And San Antonio clinging to a 96-92 lead. Late in that game, probably about a minute to go. And it's the Spurs by 4. We'll keep you posted on that. Cleveland and Denver at McNichols Arena. Oh, you hate to see that. A little rough on the part of Rocky the mascot. Happy birthday indeed. Mutombo, McDice, the Rook, throws it down for a couple. Don McClain, where's he looking? To the cutting Jalen Rose in the paint for 2. Cleveland trying to come back. Second stop on a 7-game long road trip for Mike Fratello's guys. Terrell Brandon to Bobby Phills. Ain't Bobby so cool? Now Cleveland's Dan Marley. The return of Thunder Dan. Oh, over LaFonso Ellis, who goes down. Mike Fratello's guys kind of hanging around. Down by 6 going to the fourth. Don McClain to the Rook. Oh, the McDice got some skills, and he is a big, strong character. LaFonso Ellis liking that. That's what I've got. We'll check and see if that's accurate. Last thing I had was 84-81 Denver. We'll clear that up. We've got plenty of time on Inside the NBA. After an 0-7 start, Cleveland has been able to win 18 of its last 25 games, all without the only Cav who made the All-Star team a year ago. Tyrone Hill has earned league-wide respect as one of the NBA's best rebounders, and that's exactly what he's trying to do now. Here's Craig Sager.
Making his first All-Star appearance from the Cleveland Cavaliers, Tyrone Hill.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T, find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T, take out T-C-T. Sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me, dinner in space. Sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me. Woo, hey, dinner in space.
Last season was a breakthrough year for Tyrone Hill, one of the NBA's top 5 rebounders who made his first All-Star appearance and earned respect as the Cavs' new leader. But hours before Game 3, at this intersection, Hill's season came to a crashing halt. Tyrone was the victim of a hit-and-run accident that left him temporarily paralyzed and has threatened his career.
It happened so fast. I didn't know what happened. And, I didn't think the injury was as bad as I thought it was until, the doctors told me, and I couldn't feel anything on my right side. And, my mom and dad came to see me. It was even more frustrating and frightening for me because, I can look at my mom's eyes and, she was trying to hide it and, try to keep things on the low. And, I can see that it was a little fear in her eyes and a little doubt in her eyes. Was I going to be able to walk again or be able to play again?
This happened to be something that drove his head up into the top of the car, smashed down on the spinal column, and all of a sudden we've got a major problem here.
First 10, 12 days, I couldn't move at all. I was still in bed, and, my mom and my family was, had to help me around the house a little bit. But, I even thought about, quit playing basketball. It wasn't for my high school coach, George Jackson, who came up and spent a few days with me. You know, I honestly think if I would have had a championship for the accident, I think I might have quit playing basketball.
You know, I was there to encourage him and to let him know that, you know, we're still behind him 100%. We're not forgetting about you. You know, we're not going to forget about you no matter how many games we win or how well we do without you. You know, you're still a very big part of this team, and we really do need you out there.
When you see the steps that he's taken of just working on him to lift right hand, come back down, lift left hand, come back down, go up with two hands, come back down. It was retraining, reteaching the muscles to do things which come naturally for all of us, but they didn't come naturally for Tyrone anymore after the accident.
Start all over. Start all over. Start all over. Start all over. It's time to start all over. Make a new beginning.
It's like kind of like learning everything over again. It's like being a toddler. You know, you have to crawl before you can walk, and you know that's what I've been doing for the past couple of weeks. Now I'm walking. Now I'm starting to run.
Start all over. Start all over.
All right, thank you, Craig Sager. I tell you what, Reggie, that's an inspiring story of Tyrone Hill. This is not like, you know, you sprain an ankle, going to miss a few games, and everything's going to be fine. You're just relearning everything.
And there's some things bigger than basketball. You know, the thing that's nice about him is that before he got his injury, he was a very aggressive player. It's going to take him some time before he can get to playing with no conscience. He's a down-low player, a big-time player. It's going to take some hits to the back. It's going to hurt.
They hope that Tyrone Hill is able to play before the end of the 7-game road trip, which is continuing right now. And let's update that Cleveland score. We had a little bit of confusion out here, which is very, very unlike the situation here on Inside the NBA. It's 86-81 in the closing seconds of this game. Denver clinging to a 5-point lead. We'll let you know if that game goes final, and it should soon, and as should this one, the San Antonio Spurs. We told you about their difficulty winning in Salt Lake City, but they're up by 8 with about 15 seconds, 15.8 to be exact, at the Delta Center in Utah. There they are, hard at work. The Loggers, oh, look at him. Keenan Thomas on the run. You know what he's got in his mitts? The Foot Locker play of the day. Keenan Thomas, way to deal, kid, and look what he's found for us. This defies wackiness, does it not? Utah and San Antonio. Who wants this thing? Who's going to corral this thing? Who's going to throw it away next? Utah, finally, with the pass inside. Stockton to the mailman, Karl Malone. Great job, Keenan Thomas. You the man, as we salute the Logger, who finds the Foot Locker play of the day. Let us update some scores. Halftime, the Sonics 53-47 over the Heat, who have never won a game in Seattle. They are 0-8. The Golden State Warriors playing the Vancouver Grizzlies tonight. General Motors Place, affectionately known as the Garage. Bryant Reeves sitting because he picked up 3 fouls in the first 7 minutes. Greg Anthony to Chris King, and the Grizz on top by 4. Tim Hardaway coming off an 0-for-9 night in the loss to Phoenix last night. Ahead to Latrell Sprewell, who's averaging 25 in 2 games against Vancouver. And at the half, it is a 50-45 game. Golden State on top of the Grizz. The Houston Rockets playing the LA Lakers. This one's at the Great Western Forum tonight. Nick Van Exel. He's got Eddie Jones in his sights, and Eddie, well, that thing almost went in without Eddie touching it. Then Anthony Peeler. Well, everybody's got Eddie Jones in their sights. Eddie running the wing, in stride. That's sweet. Rudy T saying that is not what I had in mind here. Neither is this. 40-34, the Lakers have the lead over the Rockets as they play in the second period at the GWF. The Cavs and the Nuggets, has it gone final yet? Not quite. It's 88-83. With about 10 seconds to go in the game, I'm still taking the Nuggets in that one. And the San Antonio Spurs and the Utah Jazz. This one is a final as the Spurs hang on to win it 100-92. They have won 3 in a row. Reggie Theus has been doing some serious work, and this is really nice because here's a guy who started his whole career, but he appreciates what the guys do off the bench.
Absolutely.
And kind of come up with your own off-the-bench team, your starting 5 of bench guys.
You know, guys who are doing a good job, you know, not always a starter, but definitely, you know, we have guys like Sabonis, we have Michael Smith from the Kings, and Tony Kukoc. You got Johnson, Aaron Pierce with the Pacers, and Sam Cassell with the Rockets. But there are a few guys who are making a name for themselves that you might not know. We'll start off with the guys like Tim Laettner.
wish I was a baller. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I was a little bit taller, y'all. I wish I was a baller. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller.
A catchy title there, From Pine Time to Prime Time, and here's your man, Tim Legler.
Definitely. You know, you hear a lot about Howard and Weber, but Legler leading the NBA in three-point percentages. You know, he has a 2-year contract now with the NBA, and I want to see him and Price spreading that defense out and shooting those jumpers. That's going to be very nice. Kurt Thomas, another guy who is doing a great job off the bench. Riles now giving him a little bit of time starting. This is a guy who led the nation in scoring and rebounding in TCU. It's the 10th pick, averaged 15 points and almost 7 rebounds when his first line was out of the game. He's got a guy that's got a nice power game and really a soft shot from around the basket. Jason Williams for the Nets. I mean, this guy had a crazy clause in his contract. He was traded from Philly to the Nets. They said he couldn't average 19 points or get 19 minutes or the Nets lose their first-round pick, which turned out to be, what's the kid's name from Ed O'Bannon? That's right. But he's been a nice bright spot for the Nets. George McCloud doing a great job ever since Mashburn's been out. He's a guy who's drafted by the Pacers as a point guard. Look at that crossover dribble and the reverse. 7th overall. You know, he tied the NBA record for the three-point shots, 10 in a row in a game. I just like the outside shot. The fact that he's doing a great job, you know, it's going to take a lot of pressure off the 3Js. And these are guys who are making some serious Pine Time to Prime Time. But I want to talk about a little bit more about George McCloud because it's nice to see him doing a great job because, you know, he went through a hard time losing his mom and his dad in a short period of time. And
yeah, it's always an inspiring story. And also, his teammate tonight, we're talking about guys coming off the bench.
Yeah.
And Tony Dumas comes off the bench for a career-high 39 tonight here on TNT. They win in overtime, 140-130 over the Phoenix Suns at America West. And we do have a final score. We've kind of been stringing you along on this Cleveland thing. It is 90-83, Denver over Cleveland. We'll see the Cavs Tuesday night on TNT as they continue their 7-game trip taking on the Sonics. Wednesday night, TBS, the Magic and the Suns. That's 8 o'clock in the East. I don't know if Shaq will be back or not. He's been bothered by that quad. The Hornets and the Heat. A week from tonight, Alonzo Mourning against his old mates. Glenn Rice meeting up with his old guys down there at the Miami Arena. Remember, a week from tomorrow, the Senior Bowl, live from Mobile, Alabama, Saturday, January 20th at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Coming up next on TNT, yes, indeed, Richard Pryor in Car Wash. I hear that it's better than the book. Car Wash. Coming up next here on TNT. That's a wrap for Inside the NBA for Reggie Theus and our entire NBA on TNT crew. Ernie Johnson, good night from Atlanta.
Hey, you know they use my natural for the model for the quiet.
Tuesday night NBA on TNT. Sean Kemp rules the boards, owns the alley-oop, and defends above the rim. Can the Cavs upset his reign? Cavs Sonics Tuesday at 8 on TNT.